What's going on, guys? So today's going to be kind of an interesting video on some products that anybody who RVs should absolutely consider getting if they don't already have it. The main reason why is because whenever you RV, there's always a chance that you have an electrical related issue. And oftentimes the number one cause of an electrical related issue isn't necessarily shoddy workmanship in your RV. That could, of course, account for some stuff, but typically that's 12-volt stuff. That's like your lights, leveling, awning, stuff like that. But whenever you're using 110 power, which is shore power, whenever you're trying to power your air conditioner or your microwave or your refrigerator, in many cases, if you have a residential refrigerator, then the number one area that your RV is susceptible to from a power perspective is shore power. So let's talk about that, and let's talk about why what you're looking at in front of you can be so important. Hang tight, I'll be right back. Okay, so first and foremost, I want to give a big shout out to my channel sponsor, etrailer.com, who carries all of this and provided this to me. I want to talk about some things that they carry that are really important. And there's all sorts of different brands, but this is certainly probably one of the best brands that you might want to look at when it comes to this type of technology. And this technology is a smart RV surge protector with emergency power off. This part right here being probably the most critical aspect of it. So, what this is designed to do is essentially create a protection appliance between shore power, essentially when you're going RVing and you have this big cable right here that plugs into the side of your RV, and then you have the plug right here, whether it's a 50 amp or whether it's a 30 amp. This specific one happens to be a 50 amp, and I believe this is a 35-foot cord. So, 50 amp cord plugs into the power pedestal at the campground. And if you plug directly into it, you're essentially now on the grid. You're essentially connected to city power or city utilities. You're connected now to shore power. And again, shore power simply means I'm connecting my RV to utility versus solar power versus generated power or generator power or any other type of power that you might bring with you. Now, why is this important? Well, first of all, you have to understand that your RV is typically going to have 12 volt and 110. 110, again, really powers all of your big appliances, your things like your air conditioning, refrigerator, microwave, stuff like that, as well as your wall outlets. 12 volt is what's fed from your battery system in your RV. So anytime you go out, your batteries that are in your RV generally can power your things like your lights, your slides, your front leveling system, your front jack if it's a power jack, things like that, and maybe your furnace, depending on what type of furnace you have, and maybe your refrigerator, depending on the type of refrigerator you have, if it's a 12-volt refrigerator. When you get to an RV park, the reason why you want to use shore power is to power all the big stuff, and for you to be able to use blow dryers, and again, your microwaves and things like that. So there are RVs on the market that can power everything inside of your RV off of solar power and battery backup alone. The challenge here is that typically that battery power is very finite. Essentially, you'll drain through it. You'll pull all that capacity out very quickly if you're trying to power bigger appliances off of the inverter that you have with your RV. And what I mean by that is if you try to run your microwave or if you try to run your refrigerator or air conditioner, if you don't have a battery system specifically designed to power that stuff, you're going to need shore power. Or you'll just be able to power that stuff for a very short period of time until you've depleted all of the capacity within your batteries. So I know that there's a lot of folks that watch this that already understand all of this. There's a lot of folks that are constantly trying to figure out, do I put a solar system in my RV? How big of a system do I really need? And what can I power with it and for how long? And there are RVs out there that are specifically designed to run completely off of solar and batteries. They exist. But most of the time, even if you have an RV with a relatively sizable solar panel and battery bank, it's unable or likely to be unable to power everything in your RV at the same time or for an infinite amount of time. Basically, it's not going to allow you to run it perpetually for forever without depleting, and then you're going to have to charge your battery system up either through shore power or just through turning everything off and letting the solar panels slowly charge the battery bank that you have. Now, digressing back into what you're looking at here, the reason why this is so important and the reason why every RVer should have something like this if you use something like this, if you use shore power, is because of the uncertainty that the shore power you're connected to is going to be reliable shore power. Now, I'm not saying that it's not always going to be on, of course, unless there's like a thunderstorm or a cable cut or some type of major utility outage, but I'm not saying that it's not always going to be on. It may always be on. You may be plugged into the pedestal at the RV park and lights are on all the time. You're never having an issue that you can see. The issue that most people run into at an RV park and what can destroy the appliances, your microwave, your air conditioning system, and other electronics, or even potentially cause a fire risk to an RV, and this actually happens a lot. It's not one of those things that just rarely happens. I'm not going to say every RV park, but as an example, in a large RV resort or RV park, you could very well have a few RVs that get damaged every week simply because of an issue, and that issue is voltage drop. Voltage surge is also a possible issue, but it's mainly voltage drop. What does that mean? That means the voltage, which should normally be between maybe 110, 120 in that range, drops to an unsafe, unacceptably low level for the appliances that you have plugged in to properly function. Basically, they're designed to operate at that 110, 120 volt level, and now your voltage has dropped down to 90 or 100 volts, which is below what the circuitry inside of that equipment's designed to operate at. And it can actually pose a risk of damaging that stuff, whether it's your air conditioning unit, whether it is some other appliance inside of your RV. Again, simply because voltage drop. And that voltage drop can occur for many reasons, but one of the main reasons is you just have dirty power. You have so many people in the RV park that are all doing different things. They're using different types of equipment, and maybe the RV park wasn't 100% designed well to be able to support that many connections. You run into that scenario of the voltage dropping simply because of maybe they didn't use the right cabling, or maybe there's an issue somewhere along the line. Maybe something happened and that voltage is now dropping to an unsafe level. And once that voltage drops, again, it can damage appliances. And when you use something like this that specifically has the emergency power off feature, it means it's detecting whenever that voltage drops too low, and it automatically shuts power off to your unit. So if the question is, am I going to lose power if that happens, and I would rather have power? Well, no, you don't want to still have power if your voltage is too low, because now you're possibly damaging your RV. If your voltage is perfect, then all of a sudden it starts to drop too low. Ideally, you want the power to shut off so it salvages and saves your equipment. And this right here detects when that power is restored to normal levels. Once it's restored to normal levels, then your power is going to kick back on. But that is the really cool aspect of having something like this. And something else to note about a system like this is it's also designed to check for improperly installed or miswired pedestals. And this actually happens more than people might think as well. The main reason why is you may have someone who's not necessarily an electrician who works as a maintenance person at an RV campground, and power's not working, and they think that they have experience, they've done it before, so they go out there and they try to fix the wiring or replace the receptacle or do some maintenance on the pedestal, and they wire it incorrectly. Maybe they get the wires backwards, maybe they damage the wires, maybe they ground it out. They do something that can cause a short, it can cause a fire, it can cause some type of an issue for whoever goes in and tries to connect to that pedestal. And I've actually seen a lot of folks who've showed pictures of fried power supplies, fried cables, melted cables, because that's happened. So this also will detect for that. Whenever it's plugged in, the first thing it's going to look for is this pedestal wired properly? And if it's not wired properly, I'm not going to say everything's good to go, and I'm not going to click on, so you'll never get power to your RV unless it detects that the pedestal is wired properly. So that's also a huge, huge reason why you're going to want one, especially one that detects for that type of miswiring or that type of improper pedestal installation. Now, you're going to see a lot of surge protectors on the market. Tons of them exist. And understanding that having a surge protector and having a smart protector are two different things. A smart protector is really going to look for voltage. It's going to look for voltage drop. A surge protector is simply going to look for surges. And if there's a surge, it'll shut off. It'll essentially act like a breaker. It'll simply shut down, stop working, and then it needs time to reset. A smart surge protector is going to give you the ability to actually check for voltage drops. So those are the two big differences between the system. Now, this Hughes system is pretty cool because it also has a Bluetooth app that you can monitor your equipment from, which is really nice. So you can see it from your phone. You can see specifically what's going on with your equipment, which is really nice. And you can then check to see why something's happening if it's happening. Whenever you look at just a surge protector, you're rarely going to see a feature like Bluetooth connected to it. So that's another thing you want to understand. Also, having a system with a replaceable surge unit is really nice. Lifetime warranty on it. And then the higher the joules, basically the higher the surge it can protect against, is also better as well. So the key here is when you see surge protectors, oftentimes they'll have a huge price range. They can range anywhere from $50 to $60, maybe even less than that now for generic ones, all the way up to $500 to $600 to $700. And typically when you hit about that $200 plus range is when you're going to start looking at units that specifically detect voltage drop as well, and that's what you want. Again, a standard surge protector is probably better than nothing. It really is better than nothing. But if you want to actually protect the electronics inside of your RV from voltage drop as well as voltage spikes, then you need something that provides that capability, and that's not going to be your typical surge protector. So you're going to want to go up to something that's a little bit higher end, something that more closely approximates like a power management system or a smart surge protector that's designed specifically to detect for that voltage drop. Anyways, guys, just wanted to make a quick video on this. I suppose I can open this thing up and let you see what it looks like. You can see right here, emergency power off, automatically shuts down and restores power to your RV. Bluetooth. This thing is really, really cool. I mean, I guess you have to be a pretty big RV geek in order to think this stuff is really cool, but I do think this stuff is really cool. These things aren't super inexpensive, but they're not terribly expensive. So I'll put a link in the description of this video if this is something that you may be interested in. That plugs into your pedestal, then this plugs into here, and then this plugs into your RV, of course. Anyways, again, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up. We'll talk to you again very soon.